I'm looking
So,
over my notes of
yeah.
all my dream journals.
Did you know that Sigmund Freud said that dreams are the royal road to the unconscious?
No, but I feel like I've even said that.
Yeah, right? It makes so much sense.
You know, when a cell phone shuts off, where's all that going? All that like noise that's in your phone. That's what I feel like
Mm,
in the clouds, right? They call it the cloud.
yeah,
That's where I feel like we go, the cloud. If you want to think in iPhone terms.
that's a
Because
good,
just because your phone is off, it doesn't mean that your shit's not
right.
circulating somewhere.
Hell no, it's still listening to us, for God's sakes.
So it's in the cloud. So
Yeah,
that's, I feel like, what is going on
it's a
there.
good
I feel like
analogy.
we shut off. We're literally off. Our brain is
Yeah,
off, like our conscious brain,
our conscious
and
brain, right.
up starts this new download into somewhere else. We're talking about dreams, people.
That's right. Dreamland, if you will.
I love that. You know what's so interesting too is the name of this episode is Dreamland, and that is the movie theater in my town. That's what it's called.
No shit.
Yeah. So
Not
every time
surprised.
when you said Dreamland, I was like, what does he want to do with the Dreamland? He
Yeah,
wants to do,
yeah,
and I was like, go see a movie. Like
you
in my
said that.
like a split second, I was like, what? Oh
Yeah.
yes, Dreamland, sure.
Yes, yes.
But I got confused for like a split second. Like, what is he talking about? What's he want to do with the Dreamland? Does he know it's haunted?
He
Because it's
must.
haunted. What do you want to go first? How do you want to roll the what's it?
Unqualified
Unqualified
opinions.
opinion. So we're my opinion
Yes.
about what dreams I can describe to you
Yeah.
what my idea of what my opinion is on what dreams are and what they mean.
Please do.
And I can do that by using an example of a reoccurring dream that I have had. So a lot of people think like dreams are in a scientific way from like bullshit that I've learned since the internet was created. And then especially your parents and grandparents trying to make you feel better after you've had a horrible dream.
Right.
You'll often hear that dreams are just the subconscious mind making up little stories, connecting things you've seen throughout the day. So you must have seen that subconsciously somewhere. You must have heard that subconsciously somewhere. I think that's a load of shit.
Amen.
I think it's a load of crap.
Yes.
You literally pass out and have amnesia when you wake up, but only sometimes.
Yeah.
That seems a little bit controlled.
You're right.
To me.
That
seems like a little bit like this one you can remember, but this one you can't. This one you can remember, but this one you can't. There's some type of regulation happening. But that's a whole other thing that you can give your opinion on. But I can honestly tell you there has to be a reason why there's some you remember and some you don't. And there's probably a scientific explanation. I would love to know that.
I'm sure there is, but this isn't called the scientific opinion.
Oh, right. It's my opinion. So my opinion would be that it's not, I don't think that dreams are premonitions at all.
Yeah.
But I think what can happen for me in Dreamland. So I like have very vivid dreams. I'm a very vivid dreamer. I wake up tired often. Or like crying often. Like I can have like a full orgasm in my dream. Like it's without having to like
touch
hands back here.
Free. Yeah.
But it's so strange. They're so vivid and they're so real. And I wake up tired, mentally exhausted or physically exhausted, just drained. Like I didn't just sleep for 8 hours. It's so weird.
Yeah. What would your guess on like percentage be of how often you remember your dream? Twice a week, once a month?
Oh, no. I would say 99%.
Like every night you remember?
Every night I remember my dreams, but there are certain parts that I'm not allowed to remember. And it's like, I'm not even supposed to be aware that I know that it's going to be a part where I'm not going to remember. But I always remember the tail end of that part or the beginning. Yes. So like I had a weird dream the other night with you in it, and it was obvious that I really wasn't supposed. In fact, somebody came up to me in the dream and said, "You're not supposed to be remembering this right now," and it like shut it down. And I didn't wake up right then, so I don't know what you and I were doing. We were in school, but I have this reoccurring dream about the end of the world. Okay, And if you look it up like online, so I have the end of the world dreams and school dreams. And I had found this website that like was kind of like the best website for having not just like doing one definition of a dream, but it would have all definitions of all scenarios of certain dreams. So there was like 36 scenarios for school dreams, but I only identified with 3. Interesting, because I have this recurring dream in a classroom, going from classroom to classroom to classroom through those doors that connect all the classrooms. And this is why like reading these things, like going online, and like my opinion on all this is crap.
Okay.
Because I've been going through transition and insecurity about change my entire life.
Right. I had the same problem when I was like researching, or like, what do dreams mean? What do they tell us?
This is somebody's opinion on what dreams mean. And I have all this shit here. And I was looking at it before this podcast, and I'm like, this is a crock of shit. Because this is not, I'm not in emotional distress when I'm dreaming about the end of the world. I don't wake up afraid of the end of the world. I'm not feeling emotionally stressed.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. What I think is happening in these dreams is I think that it's somehow I'm on the right track. My goosebumps, that's how I know.
I know. Uh-huh.
It's your soul going back to its full self. That's all I have so far. But I'm pretty sure that I'm like learning from myself, or like a higher collective of either I'm getting help in some way. Like a teaching almost, or a warning, not premonitions, but like, because when I say I think you go to your form self, I feel like the soul is divided into umpteen unfathomable amounts of, like, we're split into all these lives having human experiences on this planet, an umpteen amount of times, all happening at the same time, because time is irrelevant, right? So it's happening at all times. So there's a trillion of us living in all sorts of things, or it's a human experience, and we're all dreaming at the same time in all different time level, different dimensions.
Yeah.
But when we dream, we all plug into the same unit. And so we become one again.
With our former selves, or with everybody,
with just like
all the other,
just the soul comes.
Yes.
It's like, it's always moving and interchanging, but it's at its most whole it could possibly ever be, is in this other state.
In Dreamland.
Astral projection or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Astral projection, that realm. I feel this way because it feels, when I'm dreaming, that I have done it already 1,000 bajillion times, these dreams.
Yes. Yeah.
And I have the same ones over and over again. And sometimes the shit that I have in my dreams prepares me for events that happen in my life. And I can give one example. It's a very dramatic story, and I'll go through it, and then you can tell me what your opinion is.
Cool.
I've been having this reoccurring dream since my sisters were born. So I was 8 and 10. Let's call it.
So we're talking
when they were born,
over 20 years ago.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I didn't think about it that way, but
paint the picture for the people. Over 2 decades, we're talking now.
Thank you so much for putting it that way, Mr. 4 decades.
Okay, yeah, right? Not yet. 3 weeks, bitch.
Okay, well, 3 weeks. I'll see you
by
there.
the time this...
It doesn't matter where we are or what end of the world dream, I always have to save them. Sometimes I'm in that school and it's always that same school. Sometimes I'm in a field and it's always that same field, and the field is outside that very same school. Yes. Sometimes I'm in my childhood home, which we all live together in. And most of the time, if it's at that home, it's either a flood or a fire. And the childhood home is on a cliff if it's a flood, and if it's a fire, it is where it lives in the actual world, like Mashpee.
Yeah.
And on Cape Cod, Massachusetts. This is the same dream. I can't even tell you how many times I've had it. I don't even know how many times I've had this dream. I had it last night. No matter how dangerous it is, I put myself in such a position to save their lives that I could possibly die. but they don't die. But
Yeah.
I could possibly die. Sometimes I have.
Yeah.
But no matter, it feels so real. And the feeling of fear never exists. There is only one thought, and it is save their fucking lives.
Yep.
And my sisters are always different ages. Sometimes they're infants. Sometimes they're the age they are now. Sometimes they're 14, 13, 16. Like, it's crazy. And I see them as they were at that age. So
Are
bizarre.
you typically in present day, or has it changed through
Always
the years?
where I am, present day.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
So the fires happen a lot. The floods happen a lot. I looked up what that could mean, and it's bullshit. It's not, it's not, it just feels like these things really, really, truly fucking happened. So now I'm going to do Inception on you.
Okay.
Something happened to somebody that I live in close proximity to.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to give away their identity, but I can still tell the story.
Yeah.
Horrible, tragic tragedy. I don't even know how else to explain it because it's an anomaly. It makes zero sense that there are survivors, but everybody survived. I was sleeping in the middle of the night. This loud bang happened. 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't matter.
Wow.
I thought a tree fell in the house.
It jolted you out of sleep?
Out of sleep.
Okay.
My son was sleeping in his room, in his crib, and my husband said, "What the fuck was that?" And I said, "What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that?" And at first I was very, very hyper at first. I wasn't like calm until I could figure out what was happening. I looked out the front window, couldn't see anything, opened the front door. Drew's like, "There's no wind. How could a tree fall in the house?" I'm like, "Get the baby." I look out the front door, and there's a woman kind of in shock looking in my backyard. So I go to the backyard and I open my curtains to the deck, and my backyard is huge, right? And then right here is a house. It's completely engulfed in flames. You can't see the house. It's just this big ball of fire.
Shit.
So that is an explosion. So then my brain said there was just an explosion. But I thought something small exploded and then the house caught fire. But it was just a ball of a house fire. It was the whole house, though. It wasn't just like a kitchen on fire so
from the time you heard an explosion,
2 minutes, not even
2 minutes,
not
and
even.
we're talking
you can imagine
like
how fast you can,
like we see in the movies, like entire house in flames by the time you got
nothing,
downstairs.
not one part of the house wasn't on fire.
Okay.
Sorry, my chest gets tight when I talk about it. I suffer with this issue. I left my son on the floor in the living room, shut off my gas. I was obsessed with gas. I had no idea what just happened. And I was just like obsessed with gas. And then something else took over, and I put my son down. My husband was on the phone with 911, and I took off. I ran towards their house. They're right next to my mom. So it was a matter of time before the flame engulfed my mother's home.
Right.
Because the houses are so close, and the fire department in this town did a great job and kept the fire contained. I ran towards the fire, just like in my dreams, with zero fear. And the only thought I had was to save my mom's life and to get people away from gas. As if I knew what had happened already, because how could I have possibly known that the gas explosion, it was a gas. Right. I mean, like, it's kind of obvious that the whole house is in flame, but my thought process in the moment of an emergency was impeccable, in my opinion. So I don't want to drag out the story because it's not mine. This person survived whose house exploded. There was 4 people in the home, and they all survived. Yeah. In a house that exploded. They survived.
Holy shit.
Right. So I didn't know that at the time. And so I ran over. My mom was in shock in her pajamas, no shoes. I had no shoes on. I was in my pajamas, just staring like this.
Outdoors? She was outside.
Maybe like 10 feet from her bush that was like separated their yards.
Okay.
Just like this. And I'm screaming at her and she won't move. She finally slowly turns around, and I'm still saying the same thing. You have to move. You have to get safe. You have to leave. You have to get away from your house. You have to move. You have to get safe. And I just kept saying that. And then it hit me. I was like, are they still in the house? Because and then my next thought was, I got to go save them. And then my mom said, no, they jumped. What if that was a dream somewhere for some version of me somewhere just had the worst fucking nightmare of their life?
Yes.
Because I was having an out of body experience. What is an out of body experience? But like dreaming is an out of body experience.
Yeah.
So like every fucking tragic moment in somebody's life could be another version of yourself having the worst nightmare they've ever had.
Wow.
Because just like in my dreams, I ran towards this fire to save a loved one with no fucking fear, as if I was fucking dreaming. Because what person does that? It's been a long time. It's been whatever. The dreams have ramped up, and I have them all the time now. And now I have the special sound effects because I know what it sounds like, the crackling.
Right. So in these other instances, do you get jolted like out of a dream typically if it's like that dramatic? Like in a real dream? Obviously, this was
in my
real
real
life.
my real dreams, it ended just the way that day ended, where police or EMTs, fire department comes and everybody gets safe or killed. And I'm left either crying because my family died, but I saved my sisters, or I'm still helping them try to solve this case, or it's always the same where I become the observer in the dream, and I'm like a bystander at the end, as I should have been the entire time. I have a son and a husband who need me.
Yeah. Whether the fear exists or not doesn't mean that you should run into the burning building.
I felt it on my face. Like I can like feel the heat now in dreams, which I never felt that before. So my whole point is, like, if you could really get inception about my concept would be that any tragic moment in your life, it's like if you have an out of body experience, it's your former self or present self or some other dimension self having a dream, a nightmare.
Yeah.
And that's why you have that out of body experience, because you're like having a shit. Like, have you ever seen Sense8?
No.
It's like an LGBT community type show, but it like if it could meet like heroes, kind of. So it's like these people, there's like 8 people all over the world that are connected by a conscience, and they share the same soul, but it's split in 8 ways.
Yeah.
And so when like one person's making love to their husband, the other woman might be in the supermarket, like feeling that moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to say. You're having an out of body experience. It's not yours, but you're still acting in this scenario because you have you're having a shared experience with another part of you.
So why do you think that some people technically like don't dream or don't ever remember them? Then is that them like
my husband
not having the ability then to connect with those?
I call them young souls.
Yeah.
Or inexperienced souls. But there are certain people where I just don't get a reading off of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't get a reading off certain people. And I would be surprised if a person I thought I got like I just don't even feel any energy coming off them.